Shalom, shalom, shalom. I would like to start off this video by giving all honor, praises, and glory unto Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Kodash. Double honors to my teachers, the elder apostles, and elder bishops of Great Millstone, teaching and ruling well. Peace, salutations, and blessings unto the hopeful elect of the house of Israel. Lord willing, this will be an edifying lesson. Alright, so it says here in Micah 2 and 10, Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. Because it is polluted, it shall destroy you even with a sore slaughter. So like it with a sore destruction. Slaughter, yeah. But in a sense, slaughter, destruction, kind of the same thing. But still, you have to be in that mindset. You have to understand that coming into this truth, you understand the why, okay, the reason of our affliction, as it says. Let's see. It says here in Malachi 1 and 1, the burden of the word of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, said the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau's Jacob's brother, said the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, yet I loved Jacob. Okay. You see? Our people, that is the importance of being in a spiritual mindset rather than in the carnal mindset. When you're in a carnal mindset and you only trust what you see in front of you, okay, which is the prosperity of the wicked, you would assume that their way of life, they are their way of life is the end all be all. Okay, their glory, their riches, the fact that they are not as in trouble as other men. Okay. You see, their strength remains strong. They can leave an inheritance for their children. Okay, you see their way of life, but really they've gained all those things by wickedness, by the left hand. So it's only temporal. Okay, so our people, they see that and they have that mindset of why how wherein hast thou loved us? You know, how does the Lord Yahweh shall love us, and we're in this situation? Okay, but again, bringing it back to Malachi, bringing it back to Micah, so like in Micah 2 and 9, was it 2 and 9? Micah 2 and 9, Micah 2 and 10, bringing it back to Micah 2 and 10, that mindset of knowing, okay, that this is not our rest. This is not the place where much righteousness doth abide. Again, because the wicked are in rulership. Okay, so the wrong judgment proceeded. Okay, the law is slack. Okay, Edom has pushed the laws, the ways of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai behind him. It says that that red horse was set up to take away peace. Okay, and that peace is synonymous to order. Okay, Edom has come and removed order from the earth. So already there, okay, this system is established on adversity to the Most High. Okay, it's based off darkness and rather than light. Okay, and understanding that, we know that this cannot be a rest. Hence the pollution that comes from being associated or being too immersed in this kingdom. Okay, it's not our rest. The rest goes again to peace, goes back into order, goes back into being able to serve the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushai the way that he intended us to serve him. Okay, this is why we are rehearsing the righteous acts. Okay, we can only rehearse them here because under the oppression of the wicked, righteousness cannot fully be pushed out. Okay, righteousness cannot fully flourish. Okay, so let me see. It says here, and this is really what we're waiting for. It says here in 2nd Ezra 6 and 27, for evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. As for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome, and the truth which had been so long without fruit shall be declared. Okay, so this is the day that we're looking for. The Yahweh Shai's return represents the end of corruption, represents the exaltation of truth. Okay, represents deceit being quenched. But again, until then, we have to maneuver. Okay, like I said, the wicked are in rulership. We have to be able to maneuver and rehearse the righteous acts until Yahweh Shai's return. Okay, remain steadfast in the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Okay, so it says here, have a precept in mind. Evil sown. It says here in 2nd Ezra 4 and 28, but as concerning the things whereof thou askest me, I will tell thee, for the evil is sown. Okay, so this as it says, the mystery of iniquity pertaining to Second Thessalonian, pertaining to the Edomites. Okay, the border of wickedness, the man of perdition. Okay, the Edomites being in rulership. Okay, the mystery of iniquity. Mystery, why? Because it was not well known that the Edomites were the men of sin, were the people in whom the Lord had indignation forever. It was not well known at that time, but now the knowledge has increased, and we have this knowledge. Okay, you see, now we know that the wicked are in rulership. If not him, then who is it? Okay, it says here, verse 29, if therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down. Okay, the place where the evil has been sown, and that's in the world, the whole earth, the evil has been sown. As it says, I've seen the wicked as a green bay tree, spreading itself, spreading itself like a green bay tree. Okay, and whithersoever Esau Edom has reached his hand, he has brought forth evil, confusion, ways that are against the ways of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and complete madness everywhere he went. And that's why we say that the earth is in darkness. Well, that's why it is written that the earth is in darkness and the people are in gross darkness, following after the philosophies of Esau Edom. Okay, his lies and deceits and deception. Okay, so it says here, that place is, if therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down. Okay, and if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown with good. Okay, so again, this society, okay, this evil, this wicked setup of a system must be eradicated, must be taken out of the way, so that from its destruction, righteousness can flourish. Okay, the fear of the Lord may replace the darkness that has been spread as a net around the world. Okay, and this is what we're waiting for. This is the we're seeking for a kingdom where righteousness dwelleth. Okay, and see, this is the faith and expectation of the saints, judgment and also rest. Okay, we're waiting for judgment and salvation from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. That's the good news. That's the gospel, knowing that the Lord will not only deliver those that are faithful unto him, but will also come with, will judge, will plead with all flesh according to their according to their actions. Okay, the Lord will plead with all flesh. Okay, whether it be good. Okay, all actions will come into judgment, whether it be good or whether it be evil. Okay, so everyone will be recompensed according to their ways. The Lord is not mocked. Okay, so that being said, we understand that this is not our rest. Okay, and this is where the every man is different. Okay, everyone has their lot. Okay, and you can't look at another man's affliction, okay, and compare it. Well, you can compare it, but really everyone's affliction is tailor-made for that individual. Okay. And again, the Lord is not a power of unrighteousness. Okay. Unjust balance is an abomination unto the Lord. So again, there's periods in time where you might be in a good, you might abound. Okay, just as just as Paul said, I know how to both be abound. I know how to abound, and I know how to be abased. Okay, so when it's good, I know how to act when everything is going well in my life, and I know how to act when everything is going through, when I'm going through hell in my life. Okay, this is duality, because again, this is not our rest. Okay, okay. Again, it says what, that every man. Okay, let me bring that out. It says here, Hebrews 12:5, and ye have forgotten the exhortation which speaketh unto you as unto children, my son. Despise not thou the chastening of the Lord, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him. For whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. If ye endure chastening, the Most High dealeth with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not? So again, despise not the chastening of the Lord. Happy is the man whom the Lord correcteth. Okay. And that being said, during this period of during our affliction in this society, in this system, we really have to realize, coming into the truth is realizing that we went off, that we are not perfect, that we need Yahushua. Okay, and because of our transgressions, we are suffering at the moment. Okay, and when it says, where hast thou loved us, you have to understand that the fact that we're catching hell in this wicked society under the heathen, okay, under the heathen nation, that we were given over unto the heathen nation, is because of our transgressions. Okay, our sins have withholding good things from us. Okay, we will, as Micah said, I believe Micah or Malachi said, I will bear the indignation of the Lord because I have sinned against him, until he will plead for my cause. Okay, so yes, we you have to see this as a sentence. Okay, we have been sentenced to serve time. Okay, under the rule of the heathen because of our disobedience. Okay, and that being said, if you put that into perspective, there's some, not all criminals end up in the same place. Okay, there's prisons of high security. Okay, there's prisons of less high security. Okay, let me bring it out. Let me see levels of security in prison. Let's see if I can find that in Gemini. Nope, not clock. Let's go ask the demon. Levels of security in prison. Okay, so here we go. So the first one is minimum security. Inmates, generally house inmates with low escape risk, and those who pose minimal threats to public safety. These are often non-violent offenders or those nearing the end of their sentence. Okay, so that's minimum security. So house inmates. So I would imagine that your house. This is basically a house arrest, so you can stay home. Okay, because that's you pose no threat. Okay, you're not that wicked in a sense, pertaining to the society standards. You're almost done your sentence. Okay, so they'll allow you to be at home. Okay, okay, so you can imagine how the level of that is in the minimal security prison compared to the final one, which is let me see, the supermax administrative security or supermax prison, those two levels of comfortability are totally different. Okay, so we're gonna go into the levels, but then you have to understand that that's the same thing in the truth. Okay, and again, uh, some the way that the Lord works, he might put you in the supermax prison for a period of time. Okay, and then eventually you will go to you'll go down few levels. Okay, minimum security. But imagine someone who's been in a supermax prison. He's basically hardened. Okay, there's the hell, the affliction, the tribulation that he'll catch in a minimum security prison. He won't even feel it anymore, man. It won't be. He'll be able to. It will be a walk through the park, man. Okay, the affliction of a supermax prison compared to a minimum security prison. Okay, that hey, that individual is hardened. He doesn't even. It feels like he's getting poked by a mosquito. Okay, you see, you won't really feel it because he's been hardened and been he has that experience of going through that affliction, of that high level intensity of affliction that when he faces the minimum security prison, hey, it's a walk through the park, man. Okay, so there's minimum security prison, there's low security. It says here where inmates, offenders who require more supervision than minimum security but are still considered low risk for escape and violence. So again, even the low risk, they are in jail. They're not at home, but they're still they're not so aggressive, or they're not so much of a threat. Okay, it says here medium security house a significant portion of the incarcerated population, including those with higher risk of escape or institutional adjustment issues than lower security inmates. So now we see we're going on a higher level. You see, it says here characterized by high fences, more surveillance, and stricter control on inmates' movement. Inmates typically have one cell have single cells with basic furnishing. Interaction between offenders might take place in smaller and more controlled groups. Okay, so this is the scenario. It's more controlled, more surveilled, more rules. Okay, and your movements are restricted. Okay, let me see. I didn't read the for the minimum security, the environment. It says here the minimum security environment, it says here, tends to be more open, sometimes resembling campuses with dormitory style housing rather than traditional cells. So you see the level of comfort goes up. It's like you're basically at home, man. Okay, you're basically outside. Okay, it says here typical the low security environment, it says here, typically have fenced perimeter, more controlled movement, and higher staff presence than minimal security facilities. Okay, housing might be dormitory or cubicle styles. Okay, so again, that level of comfortability goes down each notch. Okay, the level of comfortability keeps decreasing as the level of depending on the level of individual that you are. The more dangerous and the more dangerous you are, the more severe your crimes were. Uh, the the your comfortability goes down. Okay, basically. So it says here after the medium security prison, there's a high slash maximum security. It says here inmates designed for it's like a design for inmates who pose a significant risk of escape, violence, or severe institutional misconduct. This often includes individuals convicted of serious violent crimes, so murderers, rapists, you can name it, terrorists probably, or that might even be in the next one down. It says here the environment is highly structured and controlled. Features include high walls, multiple fences, armed guard towers, constant surveillance, strict lockdown procedures, and very limited inmate movement. Cells are typically locked for most of the day. Violence is more common in those facilities. So you see, that's that level. The you went from being in a campus to being watched, surveilled. To have really your rights, in the sense that you're treated like an animal, basically, because you can't be in society because of your crimes. Okay, So it says here administrative security or supermax. It says here these are the highest level of security, housing the most dangerous, disruptive, and high-profile inmates. So if you go to a supermax, you're a top demon. Okay, but again, that's in the world. In the spiritual sense, the Lord might put you through the supermax prison, but you have to understand that the Lord knows that you can handle it. That's another thing. The Lord, when He puts you in these kinds of affliction and tribulation, you have to understand that it's for your betterment. It's not for your destruction. Okay, whom the Lord loveth, He chasteneth. Okay, and again, like I mentioned, the Lord is a power of balance. He won't keep you in the supermax prison forever. Okay, from the moment that you're in the truth, He'll keep you in the supermax eternally. No, there's a balance. There's levels. There's periods of times where you're catching med hell, and there's periods of time where you can catch where the Lord throws you a bone. Okay, and gives you a moment of peace in a sense. Okay, but as it says, even in sorrow, even in laughter, the heart turns to sorrow. Okay, because you understand that this is not our rest. Okay, you understand, even when you in those moments of joy, in those moments of pleasure, you understand that this is not your rest. You understand that you're still in captivity under the heathen. Okay, so again, just to finish up, it says here the environment of the supermax prison. Says here extreme isolation is common, with inmates spending most of their time in single cells with minimal contact with others. Movement is highly restricted and supervised. Security measures are extensive, including advanced detention devices, reinforced cells, and strict protocols. So you see, yeah, so that's the highest level of security when it comes to being an image of when it comes to levels of prison. And you can imagine that the supermax prison compared to the minimal security prison, the level of comfortability is very different. You go from being stuck in a cage, being watched, being detained, all those protocols. Your movements are restricted. Okay, you can't really do anything. Okay, compared to being outside in the campus, going for a walk. Okay, there's a level of comfortability that's very different. Okay, you see. So again, the Lord, you understanding that this is not a rest. Okay, that you understand that, hey, you might be in a super cell for a moment. Look at, as it says, let me bring it out. Let me bring it out, man. It says here in James 5 and 10, take my brethren, the prophets, who have spoken in the name of the Lord, for an example of suffering, affliction, and patience. Okay, take them for an example of suffering, affliction. Okay, being a man of the Lord, being a servant of Yahweh Ba'ashem El Shai, says what? He that departed from evil becometh a prey. That's how you understand even more. Okay, that this is not our rest. The fact that once you turn to Yahweh Ba'ashem El Shai and walk that straight path, that path of difficulty already there, it tells you the straight gate, the gate of difficulty. You go through that gate, you're gonna catch hell. Okay, that's the process that the Lord has made. That's the process that the Lord has set up for us to inherit the kingdom of heaven. He that will live godly in Hamashiach shall suffer persecution. Okay, the servant is not greater than the master. Just as they persecuted Yahushai, they will persecute us as well. Okay, so that's a given, and you have to understand this. Okay, you can't expect to be lollygagging your way to heaven, your way to salvation. Okay, you have to earn it. Make your calling and election sure, and even in the face of adversity, you have to overcome, just as Yahushua overcame. Okay, because he that is greater is he that is in us, that he that is in the world. So with our faith, okay, with the faith, you will be able to overcome with whatsoever is brought your way. Okay, because again, the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai will not give you something that you cannot overcome. Whatever situation that you go through, you have to know that the Lord is putting you through these things because he knows that you can overcome it. Okay? When let me finish this and I'll say my point. It says here in James 5:11, behold, we count them happy which endure. Ye have heard of the patience of Job. Ye have seen the end of the Lord, that the Lord is very pitiful and of tender mercies. Okay, you bring it to perspective. Job, you look at the story of Job. He was rich at one point. Okay, so he, in a sense, if you put that in perspective, with the security systems of prison, if you put that in a perspective, Job was in a minimal security prison for a time. Okay, he was in a minimal security prison with low, with low level of security. Okay, he wasn't a threat. Okay, he was comfortable in a sense. He was more comfortable than the majority of the people because again, he was rich. He had his family. He had his wife. Okay, he had his servants. Everything was in order. Okay, but eventually, Satan came to the Lord and asked for Job to be tested. Okay, you see, and again he was tested. You see, and again you have to understand that again the Lord didn't bring Job to such a low estate to destroy him. No, man, it was to bring him back up because at the end, as it says, the end of Job was better than his beginning. So it's not like the Lord just left. So it's not like Job was transitioned from a minimal prison to a supermax prison that was left there and was forgotten there. No, at one point, yes, he was sent to a supermax prison. Okay, he caught a high level of hell. Okay, back to back to back, losing everything that he had. Okay, being tempted, even his health was affected. Okay, having his friends curse him out, calling him wicked. Okay, so he was being persecuted on all sides. Okay, so he was in a supermax prison, but eventually the Lord took him out of it and brought him back to a minimal prison. Even in his level of comfortability was even better than what he was that when he started in the beginning. Okay, but he had to go through it. He had to be tested as we are being tested today. Okay, you see. So you have to understand. That's why you cannot despise the chastening of the Lord. The Lord knows the beginning. The Lord declares the end before the beginning. Okay, he knows our journey basically. He sees far off. He sees the whole picture. Okay, we don't see the whole picture. We just see the now and then. Okay, and even then, you still have to. The Lord has given us the opportunity. If you have the eye salve, if you have this understanding, you know that the kingdom of heaven is on its way. Okay, so regardless of your own personal affliction, you understand that you must endure. He that endured until the end shall be delivered. Okay, so you don't know when and where and how. It's like we know where. Okay, it's gonna be on earth. The kingdom of heaven is coming to earth, but you don't know when. Okay, and how it's gonna happen. Okay, you don't know you don't. It says we see through a glass darkly. Okay, but we know that at the end of this wicked empire, okay, at the fall of Isa Edom, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua will establish righteousness on the earth. Okay, and that's what we trust in. Okay, that's what we bank on. Okay, so knowing that, regardless of our own personal affliction, we keep our faith in the names of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua and the words that He has said in the gospel. We put our faith in those things. Okay, you see, so that we're not pushed to and fro by every wind of doctrine. Okay, you see, so we look at Job, we look at the prophets that suffered for the name of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, knowing that they are greatly rewarded, that they will be greatly rewarded when Yahushua returns. Okay, and even Yahushua, after Yahushua having a perfect walk in that time, okay, in that reincarnation, okay, he was a sacrifice unto the whole house of Israel, the righteous and the wicked of the house of Israel. Okay, and by doing so, okay, he has obtained a name that was greater than any man. Okay, but it says that he was marred more than any man. Okay, his moment of tribulation, his hour of temptation was serious, but through serious. That's one way of putting it. Okay, he went through he went through the highest level of supermax. Okay, he went beyond supermax. Okay, but through his affliction, through the fact that he overcame not only the flesh, he overcame the his moment of tribulation, okay, because he prayed at one point. He prayed to not go through it, but he understand that because the way that the Lord then answered Yahushua, he knew that he had to go through it. He went through it, and now he is glorified in the heavens, and he is waiting to come to return and be glorified on the earth. Okay, but even of as we speak, the elect and those the faithful believers are already glorifying Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai by conforming themselves to his will, to the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, not being conformed to the ways of the world, by being transformed by the renewing of their minds. Okay, as we speak on the earth, the righteous, okay, those that fear Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai are already glorifying him by their actions, by their speech, by the way that they move in this world filled with darkness. They represent the kingdom of heaven on earth. Okay, again, bringing it back to rehearsing the righteous act. It says that the just man falleth 7 times, but he get it back up. Okay, so yes, we are in this flesh. We cannot be perfect in the sense of worshiping Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, but we have this treasure in earthen vessels. We have the knowledge that will lead us to salvation. We have the knowledge that of what is pleasing unto the Lord, and if we strive to do these things, we will obtain the good favor, the good mercies of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai in the time of wrath. Okay, so again, we understand that this is not our rest. Okay, and we understand that this world will pass away. Okay, the ways of this world will pass away. We adopt a pilgrim mindset. Yes, we're gonna go to work. Yes, we're gonna pay our bills. Yes, we're gonna take care of our worldly affairs. But we're seeking the kingdom of heaven first. Okay, you see, we're not putting our hopes. We're not putting we're not as a as my coworker told me yesterday. Yes, I'll come to work. I'll give them all I have, but I will not give them my soul. You know, I'll give them everything I have, my time, my resources, my this, my that, but I will not give them my soul. At one point, I that's the line I will not cross. Okay, so again, yes, you're in the world. You know, you use the world. You do not abuse it. You maneuver how you can. Again, you have to understand that everyone has a different lot. Okay, everyone's not facing the same hell, the same level of hell. Some brothers might be in the minimum security prison. Other brothers are in the supermax prison. Okay, other brothers are in between those levels of hell. Okay, but again, the Lord sees the end. The Lord sees. He knows why he's making you go through these things. So trust in the Lord. That's another thing. Trust in the Lord. Those affliction, those tribulation is for us to work out our faith, to grow in the faith of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, and to build us up with experience. Okay, that experience will allow us to face the hour of temptation head on and be able to overcome to our faith in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. All right, so I'll end it here. Lord willing, this was an edifying lesson. Until next time. Kahalaylam Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Acha. Double honors to my teachers, the elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone, teaching and ruling well. Peace, salutations, and blessings unto the hopeful elect of the house of Israel. Until next time, shalom, 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 shalom.